Hey everybody, this is Adam Knight. I wanted to give a quick explanation for the difference between a sus chord and an add chord. Sometimes you see a chord C add 2, C add 4. That's different from C sus 2 or C sus 4. So I wanted to explain the difference. A lot of people aren't sure of this. So if you take your basic C major triad, I'm just going to take the first, third, and fifth notes of a C scale. That would be C, E, and G. Okay, C, E, G. And you can play that anywhere on the neck. It doesn't matter. I'm just choosing to play it right here. Okay, and if I add a 2 to that, scale degree 2 in the key of C would be D. So if I add a D to this chord, it's a C triad plus a D note. And I'm going to put the D on top here. It doesn't matter where you put it. You could put it inside. Pretty sound. Right? Sounds nice either way. So that's a great sub for just a one chord, a nice major chord. You can add that color. Just think of it as another coloration of a major chord. So C add 2, that's C add 2. A lot of times in music you're going to see it written as C add 9. Technically you call it a C add 2, not a C add 9. But if you ever read C add 9, that's what they mean. They mean C add 2. So just know that that's the chord. C triad with a D added. So you can do the same thing with the 4. You could have C add 4. So I'm going to keep that C major triad, but I'm going to add an F in there. And the way I'm going to revoice that in this situation here is I'm going to go, instead of C, E, G, I'm going to go C, F, G, and then put the E on top. So now that's my chord. Pretty chord as well, right? Sounds like sounds kind of like an F major 7 over C. But either way, it's a great chord and a great substitute for a C chord. And also it kind of sounds like it wants to resolve that 4 going to 3, but it's got the 3 in it too, and it sounds really nice. So here I'm spelling this C, F, G, E. So I got my C, E, G, my triad, right, and I'm adding an F. Again, the voicing doesn't really matter so much as having the right notes, right, to make it that chord. So that's an example of C add 4. Okay, so we did add 2, add 4, right? Now we're going to talk about sus 2 and sus 4, okay? The difference between an add and a sus chord is, instead of adding to the existing triad, right, you're going to replace the third, which is E. You're going to replace that with either the 2 or the 4. So now we have no third, and we have the 4 or the 2 in place of that. And technically, if you go back, to classical music theory, back to Bach, what would happen often is you get a suspension. They may replace the third with a 4, right? And then they may resolve it. So usually you get suspension and then a resolution. And that's kind of like the proper quote unquote way to handle that suspension. But that's not how it always is seen in pop music and, rock and jazz and whatever. So you don't have to resolve it. Just know that. That's just, kind of classical procedure 101 to resolve it. Same thing with the add 2. So this is C, D, and G instead of C, E, G. I replaced the third E with the D, all right? But then I'm going to resolve, right? So it sounds like that. 2, resolving. But you don't have to resolve it. You could just have this chord. That's pretty, right? That's a C sus 2. Okay, you could also have a C sus 4. That sounds really nice too. Here's another voicing of a C sus 4. Right? Sounds like it wants to resolve that F to E, right? But you don't have to resolve it. Right? Here's another example of a C sus 2. You hear this chord a lot in music. Kind of looks like our A form C major bar chord, except for instead of the E, the third, they have the D in there. So this is voiced C, G, C, D, G. So it's got the root, the fifth, and the 2. That's a nice chord. This is kind of that Edie Brickell song has this chord. So it's got kind of nice flavor to it. All these are just flavors. It's like coloring with a palette. This is an example of C sus 2. This would be C sus 4. Right? Sounds like that Who song. right? So that's a situation where it does resolve. So anyway, hope this helps to understand an add chord versus a sus chord. There are different situations where you may want to use one or the other, but really it has to do with, did you keep the integrity of the triad, or did you replace the third with one of those notes, 2 or 4? That's the bulk of the theory behind it. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Follow me on YouTube. Have a nice day.